Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona in partnership with Foto Forum today, and you are watching another great episode of Garage Talk, so let's get on it. Now, we're going to be talking about the Canon R50, and I'm going to be giving you my review. Foto Forum did not pay me to do this review, nor did Canon. They did loan me the camera to do the review, but as soon as it's done, it's got to go back. And you are seeing this on Thursday, March 16th, the day that the embargo is lifted, so this camera is officially for sale. So before we really get into the review, I want to go over some specs, so let's take a look at those. Now, the Canon EOS R50 has one SD card slot and it's a Type 1. Kind of a bummer there. It's an RF lens mount, like I said. It has an APS-C CMOS sensor that's compatible with dual pixel autofocus, which is a good thing. 24 megapixels, which is pretty much standard. It does JPEG, HEF, RAW, and compressed RAW. It will do 7 frames per second still photography in RAW and 15 frames per second still photography in compressed RAW with the electronic shutter, which is very important to note. It has an OLED EVF with 2.36 million dots, which is pretty much standard for a camera at this price point. It does have a diopter. It has an ISO range of 100 to 32,000, depending on your settings. I would not shoot this past 3200 ISO. Shutter speed of 1/4000th of a second in first E curtain and 1/8000th of a second when you're in full electronic shutter. No IBIS, which is not surprising for a camera at this price point or size for that matter. It does have the CMF, which is the Canon multi-interface hot shoe. It has multiple drive modes for photography and video, or photography I should say, so you're going to have single shot, burst at low, medium, and high, ultra high, so you have some options there. You have 8-bit or 10-bit video, but no C-Log, and I'll explain more of that when, a little bit later in the video. If you want 10-bit though, you have to record an HD RPQ. It does not mean you're going to be able to color grade, and that is an H.265 compression, which is horrible. I wish it would have been an H.264 in all intra, but again, it's an $800 camera. What do you expect? No log recording, like I said. It has a 3-inch LCD screen with 1.62 million dots, standard issue, 3.5mm audio jack. Thank you, Canon, for making it standard. It has a micro HDMI port, which again, for this size camera, for this price point, it's not surprising. It has a clean HDMI out, which is awesome as far as an option. It uses the LPE17 battery, which is standard for this type of camera, this size. Canon still did a good job with it for the battery management, and it is not compatible with a battery grip. Okay, as far as that goes. Now, I hope you enjoy the little, twirling camera. I figured I'd do something different instead of you guys looking at me going, Jesus, not this friggin' ugly mug again. So, as I was saying, this is an entry-level crop sensor mirrorless camera that is an arm mount. Why is this significant? Because I believe, it is my opinion, people can agree with me or disagree with me if they like, this camera is replacing, for sure, according to Canon, the M series camera. Thank God that was a bastard mount and just one of those cameras like you scratched your head and asked why. Wasn't a bad camera, seriously, it was like, why? I also believe this is the nail in the coffin for the Rebel series. Now, some people in Canon are like, nah, the Rebel's still good. Dude, it's a DSLR camera. It's 2023. It's not good. I believe this represents the replacement of the Rebel series camera more so than the R10, in my honest professional opinion. And again, you're free to debate me down in the comments. Just be respectful. That's all I ask. This camera is a powerhouse, a tiny little package that is quite the dynamo. Does it have its quirks? Yes, but it's an $800 camera. So we're going to talk about first the things that I do like, and we're going to add some of the things that I was kind of like, Again, $800 price point, guys, all right? And some of the things that I hope in a coming firmware update, Canon will be able to address, because there are a couple issues with this, namely autofocus, and it kind of got hot, all right? But there could be a reason for that. Now, this has a full articulating screen, which is great for people who want to do Instagram, TikTok, any type of social media. You'll be able to track yourself. sit there and do that 9:16 video. It did a good job. I took it out on the trail and I did the standard with the Mantis tripod, which I use with my Sony cameras. Looked right into it and it did a good job. Eye, face, tracking, focus, did really good. Where this really faltered though is when I was doing panning shots, all right, and I was scanning as far as the landscape, any plants, cactus. There was a couple that I was trying to shoot of the butterflies and the bees, and it just would not stay focused. And even when I used tracking, any type of movement, it would jump from one subject to the next. And I tried a couple different ways, you know, a couple of different adjustments and everything. It just wasn't quite there. All in all, is it pretty good autofocus for an $800 camera? Yes, I wasn't disappointed with it. I just know there's room for improvement, and I am positive that Canon will address this in a firmware update. Now this camera, you guys are watching this day of, this is gonna be March 16th, Thursday, the embargo's been lifted, so obviously a firmware update's not gonna come anytime soon, but I know when it does, Canon will be able to address this issue. Now when it comes to photography, the photos were vibrant, the colors were good, I had no issue, the drive system worked great, the focusing system worked great. It was just all around what you would expect, again, for an entry-level camera at this price point. No surprises, no disappointments. The EVF, and here's again where we talk about competition, who this is for. The nearest competition is going to be Sony. I don't consider Nikon's camera, the Z30, competition for anything, to be quite honest with you. Now, the Sony ZV-E10 does not have an EVF. Everything's shot off the back of the screen, which I can't stand. Now, I did own that camera being a Sony guy. I used it for 6 months so I could see what it was all about, and then I got rid of it. I love the heck out of the fact this has an EVF, and it's a very clean EVF. Even though the dots, as far as the resolution, it's not what you're gonna see on a top tier, you know, camera, as far as a flagship R5, R3, or in Sony's case, maybe an A7 R5 or an R4 for that matter, A7 IV I should say. But it was good, and having the ability to adjust the diopter to tune it to my eye was very much appreciated, because this back screen, yeah, dude, any type of light, it's washed out, very hard to see. So having the EVF, now I'm not one to shoot video with an EVF, but with this camera, I'm glad I had that option because it made shooting outdoors a lot easier. Now, the lens that comes with this is an 18-45, and with Canon using that 1.6 crop of theirs, I believe they're saying that this crops out to be a 28-72. Now, I could be wrong. I'm gonna flash it across the screen because I probably am. Comment down below, you can correct me, I'm okay with that. Again, just be respectful. And for a kit camera lens, goddamn, it did pretty good. I mean, it's a variable aperture, what are you gonna expect? Low light, it suffered, and that's because it's kind of a crop sensor camera too, so there was no surprises there. But I was very appreciative and surprised at the quality of the lens. Canon has never really cut corners on their lenses. You know, some of the ones, sure, maybe some of the EF glass, and of course they're always going to have that lower level lens, but what I've seen in their RFS, technically crop sensor cameras, their lenses, they're really good, they're really sharp, and I like the fact that the focusing ring for manual focus feels dampened. It's nice. And so manual focusing on this for some of the video shots was actually very pleasurable. Now it's still focused by wire, you're not going to get that true 270-degree rotation you would on some cinema lenses, but this isn't a cinema lens, guys. This is an entry-level crop sensor kit lens on an entry-level crop sensor mirrorless camera. So its performance was actually where I expected it to be, if not just a little bit more. So Canon, my hat's off to you. Great job on this. The controls are very simple. Now, I'm going to point here and try to zoom in, you know, thing. You have no ability to save your settings, none whatsoever. You have manual, you have aperture priority, shutter priority, you have program mode, you have full auto mode, and then when you're in video mode and it's just turning the dial, you can choose what mode you want to be. So when you turn it over to video, it's going to say, hey, what mode do you want to be? Auto exposure, do you want to do HDR PQ? And that gives you your chance to record the 10-bit, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Gives you a couple different options, full manual mode, And I did have an ND filter, a variable ND filter on there. So it does give you some options, and then you can go ahead and adjust things as you needed to. Now, when I shot video with this, I was using my DJI lab set, plugged in very nicely to the 3.5mm jack. I was able to control those settings, and all in all, that experience was pleasant. And again, there was no surprises, and it met my expectations, and in some cases was slightly above my expectations, but in some cases it was slightly below my expectations, i.e. the back panel. I wish it was a little better, but again, $800 IBIS. I wish it had IBIS, but again, $800 camera, tiny little trotch too. That one thing I definitely appreciated with this thing, it is tiny, light, and lethal, in my opinion, seriously. It's like a lightweight boxer. You're just out there with fists of fury. I know I'm dating myself with that, but it is what it is. All right, let's continue. So you have that standard dial. You have the on-off. You're able to use your soft wheel button up here. The record button is actually located in a very nice spot right there. At no time was it in the way. And for being a smaller camera, it still felt pretty darn good in my hand. I'm hoping that Small Rig makes a cage for this. I think a cage going around this would add just enough heft, just enough girth to really make it feel good in the hand, plus give you some additional options for a light, maybe doing shotgun mic, a handle on the side, some things along those lines. I did appreciate the fact that the buttons were well laid out too. Now again, guys, I'm a Sony shooter, and so I'm not going to be overly critical about button layout because it's a Canon camera. It's not a Sony camera. And they lay their stuff out a little bit differently than Sony's, but I can appreciate where everything was. The ISO, the record button, the info button, okay? Your menu set, your quick menu set. I really enjoyed the touch screen. It wasn't too sensitive, and for those of you who know what I'm talking about will totally get that. The touch was nice, touch, it worked. Changed my shutter speed, used a soft button. Everything was clear, it was concise, there was no trying to figure out what you needed to do to change the setting that you wanted to change. Whether that was aperture, touch, make the change. So if you wanted to change your focusing mode, you would just simply touch the focusing icon, you would make that change, accept it, and then go ahead and move on. It worked equally as well in video as it did in the photo area, which again, I'm very pleased by that. Now, some of the issues, again, like I said, with focusing, the tracking, when I was doing it and I had it turned around and I'm looking at myself, it picked up my face, it picked up my eye like that, it locked on, it didn't let go, which made it a little bit surprising that, you know, when I'm doing panning shots in a zone focus, that it was just losing focus. It would start out great and crisp and sharp and it would follow, and then all of a sudden, and then I'd have to stop, and then I'd have to wait for it to grab that focus again. I was shocked by that, as well as the face and eye tracking worked. And then tracking in general, when I was tracking certain objects, and it would lock on, but if there was any other subtle movements, it would jump, okay? Sometimes it didn't jump, sometimes it did. There really was no, like, oh, it's working better here than it is in this scenario. Again, I'm a little surprised by that, but I'm very confident that Canon will be able to fix this, yeah, and a firmware update. One of the other things that I noticed when I was vlogging is it did get heated up. Now it's nice because it has a temperature icon right on the top, okay? And you can see that tick up. It actually got 1 bar, 2 bars into the yellow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing's gonna overheat. Not another R6 or an R5. But to my surprise, pleasantly surprised and happy to announce, it did not overheat. And this was outdoors on the trail. So I'm going to assume, for the sake of argument, for the sake of conversation, that if you're using this in an indoor climate-controlled situation, you shouldn't have any issues. I would assume that you wouldn't have any issues as far as this goes. So again, overall user experience was very good. You got the battery door down here. You got the SD card slot right there. Again, Type 1 card, which again, I'm a little surprised that they went with a Type 1 and not a Type 2 card slot. Now granted, the 10-bit, it's not that strong. You're not doing log. I understand these things. price point wise, but we are in 2023, and where I expect all things to be USB-C, not micro USB-C. As far as SD card slots, I do have that expectation, whether it's entry level or top shelf, to be at minimum a Type 2 card slot. This would allow you to use a Type 2 V60, maybe get a little bit performance out of the camera. It's just my opinion, and what do I know? Now, let's talk a little bit more about the video settings, because I do believe that Canon, okay, has marketed this or will market this to that social media influencer, that TikToker, that Instagram reel guy or gal. Someone who's just getting started, maybe with a YouTube channel, this would really do the trick. I think it has a lot of strengths with just a few weaknesses. Again, if we're keeping in mind that it's an $800 camera. So when we talk about video performance, all right, the generic container is MP4. I don't even need my glasses. It's MP4, which is good. It's very universal. Now, when we talk about the compression, if you have HDR PQ on, and in my opinion, that's a little oversaturated. I actually enjoyed the colors out of just the standard profile, my opinion. You're in an 8-bit with it off, 10-bit with it on. Your compression with 8-bit HD PQ off is H.264, and with it on, it's 8.265. Now, why is this important? To me, I think the overcompression causes a sluggish response in video editors. Most people that are buying this is not going to have a hot rod machine that can just burn through H.265. I record in H.264 all intra. I don't mind the larger file sizes, all right? And when I can, I actually record in ProRes, S-Log3, and then, you know, again, larger file sizes, but the editing experience for me is much more pleasurable. So you need to go ahead and decide what's going to work best for you. I will tell you, though, that your range on your dynamic range between the HDR PQ being on and off is tremendous. And you're going to be recording in 2 different color spaces. It's Rec 709 for having the HDR PQ off, and Rec 2020 if it's going to be on. Now, that also is kind of standard in what I would expect for a camera like this. Now, if we look at frame rates, you can go ahead and record up to 4K 30 with this camera, and you can record up to HD 120 with this camera, which means you could do slow motion. Is the HD 120 super good? No, you can wash it through Topaz Video Enhance and really improve the picture. That will definitely do it for you. Just know that it's not going to be as good as the HD 60 or the 4K 30 or 24 in that regard, but it still delivers good, solid performance, in my opinion. You know, and of course, this is all based on my opinion. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit. Our partner for today's video, Foto Forum. Now, Foto Forum has been in Phoenix, Arizona for 50 years now, over 50 years, which says a lot. Only 2 owners, which says even more. And for the entirety of that 50 years, they have been a fixture in the photography community. In this past couple years, they've become a fixture for that mirrorless hybrid shooter, that video content creator, which is amazing. We offer classes, we have group photo walks, group hikes, all kinds of cool stuff. We have a great selection of product as far as Canon, Sony, Nikon, Fuji, and our reps are top notch. Sony, Canon, Fuji, Tamron, all our reps that come hang out with us, they're absolutely amazing, and they're here to also service you, their customers and our customers, which is even better. So, if you're thinking about photography, you're thinking about hybrid shooting, video content creation, you need to be thinking about Foto Forum. That link's going to be down below, so follow that link, give us a call, stop in and say hey to me. I'm there a couple days a week, and let's see what we can do. It's always fun to be a part of our community. So let's go ahead and finish up the review now. So who is this camera for? I believe, again, like I said in the beginning of the video, that this is going to be a replacement for definitely the M50, according to Canon, but also that Rebel T series. This has now become the quintessential entry-level mirrorless camera, in my opinion. I think this actually outdoes Sony's ZV-E10 in a lot of areas with the exception of focus and ISO, that low light performance. Sony does have the edge there, and I think Sony is always going to have the edge there, to be quite honest with you, since they were first to the game back in 2010. But that doesn't mean this camera should be discounted. I think the focusing issues can easily be taken care of in a firmware update, yeah? And I think if you put a higher quality piece of glass on here, something with a little bit more speed, you might be able to remedy some of those low light issues. Again, it's not a deal breaker for an $800 camera that was meant for someone who's just starting their journey in that photography or video content creation. I think this hits a sweet spot. For $800, you can't go wrong. And once you add an SD card and maybe an extra battery, you're still well under that $1,000 threshold. Now, this does come in a body-only kit, and it does come in a 2-lens kit, which gives you a zoom lens option as well. And why I think that would be good for some people, I think this is going to be the one to own. Again, for that content creator who's doing TikToks or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, this is the camera for you to check out, my friends. It's full-featured and robust, and it doesn't break the budget. So that's all I have to say about that, so to speak. My friends, like, subscribe, the bell notification icon, the trifecta that we love so much here at Get Out Arizona. It helps out the video, it helps out the channel. The links down below are going to be for our social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the devil's work. But it's necessary to get the word out about Get Out Arizona. Follow us on our day-to-day affairs, participate on our group hikes, our group mountain bike rides. They're a ton of fun. There's also going to be a link for Foto Forum, like I said. Check it out. Come down and visit us, okay? We're conveniently located in Midtown Phoenix, and we'd love to see you. We'd love for you to share your journey with us. That's what we're all about. There's going to be some additional links down there that are affiliate links. If you make a qualifying purchase, I get a commission. You won't be charged anything extra, but it certainly helps out the channel with the other trifecta: gas money, park passes, and coffee money. Can't live without those if you're going to be on the adventure trail. So let me know what you think, guys. Seriously, comment down below. I love to hear from you. Just remember to keep it respectful. Let me know what you think about this camera. Let me know if you think this camera is for you or you have any additional questions. There's also going to be a link down below to Canon's website, so if you want to get the full specs, the PDF like I was reading off of, you can find that there. So, my friends, on that note, what do we always say? Be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards on that trail, and we have to ask, what are you waiting for? Get Out Arizona. We'll see you on that next adventure. Take care, my friends, and be safe.